From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. I thought it was podcast, webcast.
I'm pretty sure.
Now I got to go back and listen to it since you said that.
This is like a Mandela effect thing because we were just talking about how that beat gets you. You're a musician.
It is Mandela.
You're a musician, and like you talk about it every week.
Yeah. So let's ask the people when we play the intro. Do I say our podcast or webcast? I'm pretty sure if it's not podcast, then yes, we are. It's a Mandela effect because I don't think I've ever used the word podcast or webcast in my life.
Hey, you know what's funny about?
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
No, shut up.
Hey, if you recall, our Mandela effect episode was the one that echoed the entire time.
Oh my God! Every once in a while, I'll go back just for a good laugh.
Yeah.
When Juan comes on here, we'll have to tell him to look that one up. The thing is though, that thing went on for 3 minutes of just echoing and
build up. Yeah. Maddening. Hey, I'm so excited about our guest.
I'm too, man. I'm very excited.
Juan Francisco.
I've been listening to I've listened to about 3 of his podcasts, probably more than that. Podcast. Yes. Yeah. But it was really good. And what's cool is this guy's totally on the same page as us. So let's pull him on, man. Let's get him on here.
Right into it.
Hey, good evening, Juan.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, man, for being part of our webcast podcast, whichever it may be.
It's my pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So let me ask you this. I mean, and I ask all these psychics, when did you realize you had this gift? I mean, what incident happened to you that went, oh man, I must be psychic?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty recent. I would say 2 or 3 years ago. So I grew up in a very progressively spiritual home. My parents were really progressive. They weren't super religious, but I did go to Catholic school and then a Protestant high school, got the best of both worlds, I like to say, and went through a born-again Christian phase, a really intense one. And then in college, just when I came out of the closet as a gay man, I decided to accept myself and also just reconsider what I was taught and kind of decondition myself. And then started reading a lot of books. So that just gives context as to who I am, where I've started. I've always believed that psychic mediums are real, that the gift is real, the ability is real. But 3 years ago, actually right before the pandemic, it was 2019 November, I bought my own first tarot card deck. And I decided, well, let me study it. My dad used to read cards when I was really young and he stopped for some reason. Never actually talked to him about it. So I taught myself tarot, and then the pandemic happened and I lost my job, and I thought, let me just delve even deeper into tarot now. And I have all this time as I'm looking for a job. And there was one day, I believe it was in fall 2020, I was doing a card reading for a friend of mine, and I knew that she had a loved one, a family friend who had passed. I knew his name, his first name, and I knew that I knew that his life was taken from him. Those are the only 2 facts I knew. And so at this point, I felt like I was really good at tarot reading, practicing with friends. So I was comfortable doing this card reading, but then all of a sudden, there's a card in the deck, and some cards relate to the zodiac, and the strength card is the Leo card for the zodiac's, the astrological chart. So I asked her, is there a Leo in your life who means a lot to you, for better or for worse? And this is her friend, Ryan, was a Leo. And for some reason, I just felt there was some kind of message by way of Ryan or from Ryan that I had to relate to her. And some other things happened and the reading ended. And after the reading ended, we got off. This was still when everyone was just on Zoom. For most of us were just on Zoom. Right. We got off the Zoom and I felt this energy that wasn't mine sticking around. And I knew it was him. I knew it was him because he was giving me these memories that were not my own. Memories of like being in the car with my friend, singing a song that they both liked. And he made me feel an intense headache on one side of my head. I forgot. I think it was my left side. Really intense, like ache on my head, on my temple. And I asked a mutual friend of ours. I actually asked her about this memory of music, and she had told me like, oh my God, I just last week bought the vinyl record version of our favorite album. And then I just felt with the pain in my head that I had been shot in the head, but I just didn't feel cool asking her at the moment. It was really sensitive.
sure.
And it's
For
just, I
sure.
didn't want to upset her. So I asked
Right.
a mutual friend of ours, and she said, oh my God, I think that's how he was murdered. And I looked up happened to be news articles about him. It happened here in New York City. And when I looked at the news article, he was shot in the head. And it took me a week for me to tell her that that's what I was feeling and seeing. And then that's what started it all. That was fall 2020. And the night that happened is I was getting this information and I was validating it with these news articles, which I had never read before. I was freaking out because I thought, number one, this is incredible. I feel really humbled. And number two, who the hell am I to be doing this? I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. I'm not like fill in the blank, beautiful soul psychic medium. I'm not perfect by any means. Why am I being chosen or whatever to do this right now? And I decided to just run with it. I joined a mediumship circle, and I've been in that mediumship circle like it's my church every week since late 2020 or maybe early 2021. And I've been a practicing medium and tarot card reader ever since.
When you read the tarot card, did it kind of freak you out that like, hey, I got that right? You know, I mean,
oh yeah, it still does get to me, but honestly, mediumship, like practicing as a medium, I get more of a shock from when that happens because there's just something about, reading psychically through cards, because there's reading psychically and there's reading mediumistically, right? One has to do with the dead, the people on the other side, and one usually doesn't. So reading psychically, I do get shocked when things ring true or they happen to somebody when I told them to look out for something or to be aware of something. But when it comes to mediumship, it's just like, I still sometimes can't believe it happens because I like proof. I'm a skeptical believer about many things, and I can't prove how this works. I just can't. So it's still, but I know that what I'm telling the person is, thanks to spirit, what I call spirit, the other side, thanks to them, it's on point. And I'm just a channel.
I'm glad you have the gift, or is it sometimes, because you hear a lot of mediums say that they have all the spirits say, stop, that I'm not doing this right now, but they get whispered ears or they get signs. Does it happen to you as well?
You mean how I get information?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just say walking down a restaurant, like Teresa, right?
Right.
She'll be in a restaurant and she goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, I got a myth." I mean, does that happen to you? Is like, do they start bothering you? When you don't expect it to happen, or?
Yeah, knock on wood that does not start happening to me because I don't channel that way. I don't enter a room and I feel like a swoosh and I got to talk to somebody.
Right.
I believe that's real. There are mediums that that's how it comes to them. And I've met people like that before. But for me, I have to really tap into it. So I feel like as of now that this can change over the course of my life, but as of now, I have a decision whether I want to tap into something or not. There have been a few times. I was one time in an Apple store getting something done, and I just felt the woman who was helping me out. I saw her necklace, and just grandma came through, and I didn't tell her. I just knew there was somebody there.
Yeah.
That happens very once in a while, but I personally make it a point. Because I don't have a TV show, I don't have a contract for people to sign, like a waiver to sign for people to sign. I just don't feel comfortable just telling people, "Hey, your mom's here." But and then when I have visited some well-known haunted locations, I have felt things as well. More feelings and emotions and energies more than people and personalities. So yeah, luckily for now, it doesn't happen for me that way.
Right. I'm sorry for my cat. My cat's.
That's okay. Your cat's jiving with the show.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, Neo, go get.
That scared me.
So, did it scare you?
Yeah.
I knew
that
who
scared
it was.
me for a moment. Not gonna lie, I was like, "What's going on?"
Did you check that door and see if the other cat's in there? Maybe.
I'm scared.
And turn the fan on if you don't mind. Thank you. He's like my slave. So Juan, did you approach your families at some point and go, "Hey guys, I have this gift," and how did they react?
My family is
Because they're religious, right? Very religious.
not religious. I'm lucky that my family's not very religious. They were very curious about it. I think at first they were like, because I grew up believing, and I think they mostly believe that people who do this, they were like this since they were little kids. Now that I look back on my life, I think there are things in my childhood that I experienced that now I'm like, maybe that wasn't just a voice in my head. Um,
Right.
but for the most part, I mean, I didn't grow up seeing people in my room or, but yeah. So I think if anything, that's what my family thought at first. I assume like, well, this is out of nowhere, like out of left field. But they're really, like I said, they're very spiritually progressive. Even though I was sent to religious schools more for the education part of it than the religion part of it, because they're still progressive, they were very open about it. They were really open about it. And like I said, my dad used to read tarot cards. And I don't think he stopped for any religious reason per se, but I've heard stories about spiritual apparitions in my family since I could remember learning how to talk. So they were
So
very
you kind
open
of
to
grew
it.
up in that kind of environment anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the same here. My grandma used to have visions. I'll share this with you real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a country guitar player, and they were playing a club. And my grandma was with him, and after the club, they got in the car and they're going home. She sees someone jump out in the car who she thought was her brother-in-law, my grandpa's brother, and she said, "You'll stop the car. You just hit whoever his name was. I can't remember what it was." And he's like, "What are you talking about, woman? We didn't hit anybody." And she goes, "Stop the car. We need to look." So they get out of the car and they're looking in a ditch, and there's no body or anything like that. And, he's like, "You're just crazy. Let's go home." She gets home, and then about 30, 40 minutes later, they got a call that his brother-in-law had been hit by a car. Not them, but, she saw it happen. And so my sister has the same thing. Unfortunately, my sister's, and I'm not meaning anything bad when I say this, she's like very Christian. So she thinks it's from Satan. It's from, these things are from the devil. And she's always had these premonitions and where she sees things and does things, but she doesn't work with it because she tries to pray it away.
Wow.
She thinks it's the devil and all that. And I told her, I said, it isn't really. And we don't agree on anything religiously because she's pretty much strictly by the Bible. I'm not, and kind of like my viewers hear me say this all the time. It's kind of like George Carlin made that statement. He goes, I used to be religious until I learned to think for myself.
Yeah.
And so that's what I started, I just think for myself and how there's so many things that are so contradictory, I guess. And all the punishing in the Bible is like, really, we had a God that flooded the world and killed everybody and went, "Oops, made a mistake. Here's a rainbow. Hope that makes you feel better."
Listen,
I mean,
as a former born again Christian, I have so many thoughts. Yes.
I know it. Being young too, I always thought about that. How could God do that? And then, they say, well, God doesn't make mistakes, but he admitted that he shouldn't have flooded the world. So that's a mistake. And so I quit questioning throughout my life. One of the books that you've read that I've read that actually changed my life was Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. I'm trying to get Garrett to read it. There's a ton of them. I think I got through. Did you read them all? I got through maybe, I think, the first three. I have talking about the aliens on the third one.
Yeah, there's 3 of them, and then there's Friendship with God and Awaken with God or something like that. Yeah, one came out during the pandemic, I think, actually, 2020.
Yeah, I got through 3 of them, and man, it really changed my life because it was like you live in so much, and with Christianity there's so much guilt that I had, like, oh God, I shouldn't have did, I'm gonna, and I finally had to realize, hey, there's not a God up there with a hammer getting ready to bang us on the head every time we make mistakes. Hopefully we learn from them and we improve our souls and we improve ourselves. But you need to read that, Garrett, by the way.
I will.
So let's talk. One of the things we cover a lot of is ghosts. So are ghosts, Juan, do you think are these spirits that, because I thought I heard you say in one of your one of your podcasts or webcasts, that you can be in heaven, but you can be anywhere at the same time. So what you might think is a ghost is actually a family member checking on you or something. Where also there's another school of thought that what we hear go bump in the night is actually a spirit who decided not to cross yet, and they're staying earthbound. So do you think we have both, or do you think it's one or the other?
So I think the important distinction to make is when people think of a ghost, I think people, what from what I understand, they tend to think of somebody who is stuck, like a haunting, like stuck in their home, stuck in a workplace, a office environment, maybe. I mean, so many different types of places are haunted. Mental hospitals, old mental hospitals. From what I understand, what I know, what I believe now, because what I like to say now my new mantra is I don't know all the answers, but I'll ask all the questions, and I can only base things off of my own personal experience. And having encountered ghosts before, in a tour, like in a group setting, like where other people were watching, skeptics, believers, I just got the feeling that these are souls that felt so tied, and it's almost like it's good to be grounded in your environment, but some of us base our lives so heavily on the physical and the materialistic. And I think that our souls can make decisions. This is why I don't believe in judgment, so to speak, after we die. I think our souls can make a choice. And I believe that there are some of us who feel like we are so attached to what is in the physical environment that we want to stick around. But it doesn't mean that soul does not have the decision to go to the light or to cross and to evolve into a next level. It's making a decision. Now, there's also, though, residual energy, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Up and down the stairs every 2 o'clock.
Yeah, like there's energy that a soul, when it was in a physical body, did something so routine. This especially happens with a lot of military entities that were in the military, especially like Gettysburg. Have you been to Gettysburg?
I haven't. I'd love to go.
It's great. That's where I had my most memorable ghost experience ever, was in Gettysburg at the Farnsworth House Inn. So yeah, residual energy, there's that too, which is not intelligent energy, just our energy, what we gave off, right? And so I do believe that we can make a decision as a soul as to whether we want to be attached to the physical environment or not. But we always have a choice. And I've been really obsessed recently with near-death experience stories. I'm actually
us too.
Yeah, I'm going to interview some folks who've had NDEs on my podcast, but there's this YouTube channel that has a lot of like a chronicle of stories, and a lot of people have said that. Some people have said that they've gone to a place that felt negative, but then they saw a light and could decide to cross over to the light. So I think it's so much, number one, our state of mind when we die. Are we tied so much to the physical environment? And number two, like how willing are we to surrender to relinquish control? I think going to the light, there's a sense of relinquishing control. Control meaning like we wanting to control our physical environment and be so identified with it, relinquishing that sense of control and giving into the light. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my take on it.
So what do you think? I mean, do you think, let's say for instance, someone who was just a horrible person on earth, right? Because we hear this too, the school of thought is when they die, they look at the light and they're like, I don't know what's over there. I don't know if I want to go. That could be hell. I could be judged. And a lot of people also believe that's our ghost, the people who haven't crossed, because they're, and in fact, when I did some spirit box sessions, and I had asked a couple of spirits, why are you still here?
Keeps arguing with them.
And I'm arguing.
No. I'm like walking by, he's like arguing, like, seriously, you can go across. Like, don't be scared.
Well, no, I was trying
to relinquishing control.
I was trying to, let me get to the point though, but I was trying to, he's right. I was trying to help them cross. But I was like, but the thing I would get when I've talked to a few spirits is they would say, scared of hell. And sometimes it'd be weird. Sometimes I'd ask them, do you see a light? They'd say yes. Some of them said that they didn't see a light. Which is very scary if you think about it. I mean, hopefully that light is always there. But yeah, so I just, there's so many, you'd like to think you have all the answers. Then as soon as you think you do, you don't.
Yeah.
But I believe also, but I do believe like we can go to the light and we can come back. I'd love to see my great grandchildren, and kind of hang around, whatever, enjoy that. But,
Well,
ahead.
I was just gonna
I'm
say,
sorry,
like,
I'm completely hogging the conversation.
brief to put this in brief context. 2009, 2010. I was at his house a lot. I'm married to his daughter. And we were dating at the time. I had actually just come back from New York. Okay, and she came up. So I had never really met Keith, and we were just kind of spending a lot of time together. So all this was kind of going on. I knew a little bit about it. The whole thing he was telling you before the show, Juan, about the phone and stuff. All I know is that one day he put up everything and quit, and he never really talked about it until we started this show like 8 years later, right? But I will tell you that the most interesting thing is when all that happened and he put it up and they blessed the house. It felt different, right? And there was like it was way more lighter in there. When Keith was going through all that, it was very heavy.
Yeah, there were certain rooms, one you could walk in and it felt like you were in tar. It was a thick feeling to it. And like you said, yeah, eventually when my kids started getting scratched and things were getting a little violent, not horrible, but it was like, this was a nasty spirit, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I decided they came over, blessed the house, burned sage, and it did go away. And so what I thought, okay, I'm done with this because I'm opening doors. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I put the spirit box away, the K2 meter, and just thought, okay, I'm going to live in peace. In fact, when Garrett and I talked, 2 years ago about, I said, I really want to do the show, but I'm kind of afraid of opening myself back up to that because it seems like I'm a freaking light for spirits sometimes. And some of them aren't real friendly. And so that's another thing I'd like to ask you, Juan, is like, why are some of these spirits nasty? I mean, why are they? I mean, when you think when you cross over, there'd be some type of purifying thing that would happen that hey, I should have been a better person or something. But why are there assholes on the other side?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I'm going to call my theory of choice. I think many people believe in that, the soul having a choice. I think we have a choice to be. There's a choice we have to be a spirit that is so tied to the physical world, is territorial, wants to protect what it thinks is its property. I mean, it is its property. Like when you live in a home that used to belong to somebody else and it's a very territorial spirit. Yes, it is its home, but and the fact of the matter is nothing truly belongs to us on this planet.
Sure.
Right.
It's all symbolic. It's all symbolic. Oh, you know what I mean? So the soul has not really recognized that yet. And maybe it needs some more, it needs some more time to evolve, or needs to experience other lifetimes to evolve, but it's making the decision to not do that. So rather than a soul being stuck, it is making itself stuck. I feel like there's a difference. It's not so passive. It's an active decision. And look, I'm very comfortable / uncomfortable saying that I don't know why poltergeists exist. I don't know if demons exist. I know there's evil in the world in human form, so there must be something on the other side where that continues.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where that's something I'm still learning, because from when I've channeled the souls of people's loved ones, I have yet, and this could change, but I have yet to channel a soul that feels like it's in purgatory or lost, or it's sweating and it's hot and there's flames. I've yet to channel a soul like that. Maybe it will happen one day because I'm 2-3 years into channeling. But I know there's way more. I forgot which Shakespeare play it's from, but like there's more than you can ever imagine your dreams, Horatio, or something like that.
Yeah.
If I were to think that I can figure out good and evil in the spirit world, I should be making a lot of money as a guru, which I have no desire to do. So it's like I feel like there's so much we still have to learn. And what's scary but exciting about the technology, internal investigations, scary meaning like we're learning so much so fast in the last 20 years. But the learning, that's why I love paranormal investigations. We can learn more about this stuff in a way that's respectful, in a way that's safe. And my first apartment I had by myself also felt like your home. And it just was like this thick, dense energy the first night I was there. And I saged it, did a prayer, and it totally dissipated. And I learned 2 years later, when I saw my dog was staring at something, I learned that across the street was the site of the burial ground of enslaved African people of New York City. Back when it was New Amsterdam, owned by the Dutch. And I'm like, well, somebody's unhappy, and they're rightfully unhappy. We're on the land that they built for the country, and we're oh, I don't know if I lost you. Let's see. Well, I think I'm in the show, but I lost them.
Okay, there.
I'm here.
Every time I'm telling you, every time we have the strange. I run a direct cable from my modem to the computer. On the corner of the thing, it's showing the Wi-Fi. I have the Wi-Fi turned off, and it's acting like it's running off Wi-Fi. Whenever we start talking about this stuff, this happens. I mean, you can ask my viewers will tell you the same thing. It's just the craziest thing. And then I get paranoid and go, maybe there is something evil. They're not wanting us to get the good message out. So they're cutting the screen off.
But well, I mean, you obviously have a powerful energy to you, and I don't know if I would be, if I may say so quick to think that it's something evil so much as something that you must be like the right channel for whatever wants to come through. It's just about
how do I stop it?
I mean, I've never been to a shaman myself, but I've always heard that speaking to a shaman can really help. Even speaking to a medium, if you know a medium in your life that you really trust, speaking to a medium can really help. A really experienced medium. There's someone like there's a medium like me who's been doing it for 3 years. I would go to somebody who's been doing mediumship for way longer because they'll be very experienced of how to work with this.
And go to Dean.
Well, because it is kind of like, and I always talk about this, we don't have we have Dean, Brandon, and now Juan are the mediums that come on our show, right? And so like Dean's come on multiple times, Brandon's coming on multiple times. Hopefully Juan continues to come on from time to time, right? But
hopefully he's having a good time.
Yes,
I am.
But we talk about it a lot on these episodes where, and you said you started 3 years ago. It's kind of interesting to me. I own a training facility, right? So I work to develop athletes. And so I'm always like telling Keith, I was like, can this skill be learned? And
yes, and he has a thing about that.
See, well,
I watched, yes.
I love this because he's like so a part of the process that he's humble, right? Like in your scenario, he's saying, hey, and when we were talking about, the spirit swooshing at you, and you said, maybe at a point in my life that will happen. Well, this guy's going to be doing readings. I feel this great energy from you, Juan. I've been telling Keith, no, I'm not a medium or anything, but I don't think maybe.
We can get into that.
No. But
I'll make this quick. I almost called you last night because I was listening to his stuff, and he has one talking about can you be a psychic or can you learn the stuff. So, but it was really late, so I didn't. But go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I love that about you, though. That
he always asks every meeting, "Can I learn to do this? Can I learn to do this?"
Well, because I feel like impossible is a man-made invention, right? I feel like that put good, positive energy, put in any kind of direction, you can accomplish damn near anything.
Yeah.
So
we're creators,
right? And we are energetic people, you and I.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's just how I believe. So I'm always curious, but I love the way he's spoken about it in this episode. Starting 3 years ago with Tarot, learning that, moving on, finally clicking. I just love that. I just want to point that out. That's all.
Yeah, I was going to bring up two other things, and I'll let you guys
go ahead.
talk. I'm sorry. I'm being such a hog on this interview.
No, I love this.
But no. See, yeah, the thing for me, Juan, is like I'm like you. I don't really believe in a hell. I don't think we have a God that's going to, send us to this horrible place to burn, when we were placed here.
Yeah, you hope not.
But the thing that I do wrestle with a little, yeah, I know, right? The thing I wrestle with is like, what are these things that the priests are driving out of people that they're calling demons that are speaking these different languages that this little girl shouldn't know or this lady shouldn't know? And the only thing I can rationalize is this possibly just a guy on a spirit on the other side going, hey, watch this, I'm going to totally fuck with these people, I mean, and pretend I'm going to call myself Beelzebub or whatever, and what do you think that is? That's the thing that I've got to solve that before I can say there's not a hell if we keep hearing about demons and evil spirits.
Yeah, well, The Exorcist is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. I watched it growing up.
Coming too.
I probably watched it way too early and caused myself some nightmares as a kid, but it's such a good movie. And what's interesting is I start with that because from what I remember learning about the author, Beatty, I forgot the author's name, who wrote the book The Exorcist that became the movie, that he didn't write it as a horror story. He wrote it as a morality story, which I find really interesting. And so exorcisms and demons. Like I said, I don't believe in hell either. That's something we both don't believe in.
Right.
But I can't deny that these things happen. And it's actually something I want to very safely study. I don't want to delve into it. I don't summon demons. I don't do that crap. But just like to read up on it, because I know these things happen. And as I grew up Catholic, and I remember see, what's interesting is when I went to Catholic school, we asked the deacon who was our religion teacher, when was the last exorcism in Miami, which is where I grew up. He said it was in the 1970s. Now, why have exorcisms, or the reports of them, I don't know if it's because we're more secularized, we hear less about them in American society, but we don't really hear about exorcisms anymore. And the Catholic Church also, I think it's kind of taboo in the Catholic Church, like many other things in the Catholic Church. Right. That they like, the Catholic Church is more mystic than people think it is, mystical. But they don't really own up to that. So I don't know if it is a perceptive thing, the way our culture has evolved and shifted, and we perceive something as a demonic possession. Some people, there's this theory that, I mean, I don't believe we're the only things in the universe. And there are theories that there are other populations of beings out there that are both more evolved and also less evolved than we are. And that some of them are the demons, that they can telepathically possess us. That's a theory I've read before. The way I approach this is, as long as I'm doing my work safely, these are things I want to explore, because I have these questions too. I can remember there was one place I stepped into, and obviously it wasn't that memorable because I'm forgetting it, but I felt just a really unsettling presence. There was an abandoned home in Homestead, Florida, and this is like the countryside of Miami-Dade County. And stepped into this abandoned home, which we shouldn't have. We went into one wing of it, and it was really cool. It was a really cool designed home. It was trashed, graffiti. Went into another wing of it, and me, my uncle, my brother were like, we got to get out of here. Like, we're not going deeper into this home because we just got to get out. So something exists. I don't have the answer, but I know that something's there.
What if, because this is something Garrett and I talk about. I think we can create pretty much, we are big creators, more creative than we know. Okay, so what if I'm a priest? In my world, I believe there's demons. And because I believe so strongly in a demon, I manifest this demon. Not trying to be evil, but just it's because I believe in it. And because I believe in it, I've created this situation now. Do you think that's a possibility at all?
Energy's tricky.
I sort of do. So it's interesting you say that, because something I have always, when I've thought about the subject of evil energy in a home, I have a cross here. I have Mother Mary. I have a cross. I have, my crystals. I got another Jesus thing over there. I love Jesus. I have my own thing with Jesus, my relationship with Jesus. I'm not a Christian, but I identify with him a lot, and his mother Mary. But sometimes you go into a home and you see like a wall filled with crosses, and it's like, whoa, that's a little creep. It feels creepy to me because it's like you are obviously very afraid of something, that you have the need to fill your house with so many iconography. It's different if someone admires like religious icons and statues, but sometimes you step into a home and you just see them, like, you could just tell they're afraid. The owner is afraid of something. For sure. And I think fear can really feed a lot. I think we, like you said, we're more creative as creators than we make ourselves out to be. Yeah. And I think that when we are living in an environment of fear that we create, I think we can manifest things that are external to our bodies and our actions. But I also think that, I mean, I'm not in someone's head all the time, but I think sometimes we can think ourselves into thinking that something's around us and maybe it isn't. There's so many factors that play into it. And like a good paranormal investigator, I spoke to one a couple of months ago, Lloyd Auerbach, and he's called Professor Paranormal. And he was telling me that when he gets a call and someone says there's a demon in my house, he's first very skeptically. He first thinks, okay, there must be something, like, I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to go in and see what's up. And there'll be something like, there's a room in the house that feels off. And he's discovered in one house that the owner did not know that the floor was actually not level, and that there was a nearby power line that they did like I should remember this. It was like 3 months ago, but they measured like electromagnetic energy, and they realized that whatever was that the power lines nearby had some effect in the room. So this person felt off in this room and felt very uncomfortable, but they realized there were environmental factors, right? So there's so many, whether it's we're afraid of something and we're manifesting that energy around us, or maybe there are environmental factors we're totally unaware of, or putting that all together. It could be so much. But when going back to the priest thing, I know like when I enter to someone's home and I see it filled with crosses, I feel it's unsettling to me. I don't know.
No, that's a great point you bring up, because if you got someone who is so fearful, that's their environment. They're going to create that negative energy. You know,
like, do you remember the movie Carrie, the mother in Carrie?
Yes,
like that is crazy, creepy shit. Like if I had a mother like that, I mean, I might be Carrie too. I might have those crazy powers too. I don't know. But like, you know, that's what I mean is like someone who is because anything can be made into an obsession. Even this stuff, you can make anything into an obsession. And when you're obsessed with something, it takes over your life like that. It's like feeding an addiction. So there's obviously an energy that is not conducive to your growth, evolution, and you can.
Well, and then you also start looking for things constantly.
Yeah,
and
literally making your own,
justifying and validating things within yourself that others aren't. You know, it's just normal, right? So, which is another.
It's a world. It's a world we're creating for ourselves. I mean, it's just like, you know, the people you work with here are just always complaining, and they're negative people. And I've told people before, is like, hey, you know what? If you didn't bitch so much, I bet your life would get better.
People creating their own personal hell.
Yes, absolutely. Because if I'm just getting up going, I'm going to hate today's going to be a horrible day. I'm going to have a horrible day. You know, and one thing that I do sometimes every morning when I'm in my car, I'm going to say, it's going to be an awesome day today. I'm going to have such a great time today. And I try to start off on a positive note so that I can create that environment and I have an awesome day.
You know what Larry says?
No,
I don't have to do this. I get to do this.
Oh, that's a good one. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, I mentioned the podcast you heard that I did on hell. I think it was Pope John Paul II that said heaven is a state of mind, and I think hell is also a state of mind.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think it's
honestly probably the easier state of mind to get to. Honestly.
Oh yeah,
because like
what we live in, of course it is.
Yeah. Because you know, like we were talking about earlier about, you know, we were essentially talking about purgatory, and you were talking about control and giving up control in order to reach the light. And isn't that what it's all about though? Like that's where the fear really comes in, even the earthly fears and the controls that we have, because really the biggest thing that we fear is the unknown, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Fear of change. I mean, you know,
right.
Even in your everyday life, a new job, a new girlfriend, a new, you know, this, a new that.
But if you've gone through all these days and your own personal hell with all these fears and these constraints within your own mind, it makes sense that when you die, it's going to be really hard to untether from that. Whereas the person and I was having a talk with Cass about this the other night. She's kind of going through some things, and we were talking, and she was like, I hate it when people say they're going to pray for me, you know? And I was like, but hey, that's their form of, you know, showing you that they love you. And so in my mind,
or even sending you positive energy.
Right. Exactly. You know? Yeah. They're giving you positive energy. So let's flip the script on this. Right. So in my mind, the person that, even if to us, we don't understand it, and they're praying and going by the Bible.
Yeah.
It seems like they would be able to almost untether.
You know what I tell them? Cause I mean, there's people I work with, some people I don't talk about my religious beliefs, but some people I do. And I've had friends that were Christians, and they think, oh, Keith, I'm going to pray for you. And I go, please do.
Yeah.
Like it's bless your heart. Like it's one of those, right? Yeah.
And I always, you know, and before I tell people my beliefs, I start off, I say, look, I could be totally wrong. I don't know. This is what I've processed in my mind, and I've came up with that makes logical sense to me. But yeah, I've got real strict Christian friends that I'm going to hell as far as they're concerned.
Well, hey, and you're saying, you know, you could be wrong. So can they.
Yeah,
they just have the power of a whole culture behind them.
For sure.
Right. So Juan, do you think like when we're on the other side, I believe in do you believe in past lives? Like
I do.
Okay, I do too. Do you think we write our life story before we come down here? Is it predetermined, or is it just we drop ourselves down there and go, good luck? You know?
I think it's a bit of both. You know, for example, I think Presbyterians believe in predestination in the Christian world, but yeah, I remember learning about that growing up, that the idea, well, predestination in Christian culture is the idea that, from what I remember, God chose the people he was going to save before they were born. So anyways, I think but then I remember asking one of my Christian teachers at my school, oh, why would God choose people to save before they're born? Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I think life is full of contradictions. I think the story of our soul is written, but the story my story in this lifetime is not. So it's a bit of both. My soul knows the evolution that it needs to go through to grow as a soul being. And it has entered into this body I'm in right now to learn something specific about itself. And by being in the physical form, it has the free will choice on the soul side too, but especially in physical form, it has the free will choice in an environment where, I mean, there's so many challenges. I said this the other day, I forgot how I put it, that if we're all just souls on the other side, there are no challenges on the other side, from what I've understood.
Mm-hmm.
For us to know what it's like it's like for light to exist, so does dark have to exist. For good, right, so does evil. For us to know those dichotomies, those contradictions, we have to come into physical form. So to go back to your question, I think that the story of our souls is predetermined because our souls know what it needs to evolve. But when we enter the physical world, from what I understand too, in my experience doing past life regression, our souls enter into the physical body deciding to sort of, I don't want to say forget, for lack of a better word, forget its past lives. To kind of start anew. It's like starting a whole new class. It's like going from calculus 1 to calculus 2 to 3. It's a whole new level of doing the same thing. But in physical form, we get to decide what it is we want to learn and whether we're going to ace the class or maybe get the C or get the F.
But what's that? I mean, what's that mean? Because I also think about this. What is this a precursor to? If everything is perfect on the other side, why are we here learning? Learning what and for what? That's one of my big questions. Like, okay, it's perfect on the other side. Well, it must not be if we're needing to spiritually learn as we go over. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That is one of life's. That's a question. I don't know if I'll know that until I die. I don't know. I mean, there are books on it, but yeah, I it's like when kids keep asking why, and then you give an answer,
yeah.
Why? Like that's literally me my whole life, and I'm still the why person. And look, I don't know why we. It sounds depressing to me, but I don't know why we exist.
Maybe it really shows that, hey, God's saying, I'll let you do whatever you want to up here, but learn to behave. Maybe I don't know. But learn to I don't know.
In human form, we are able to measure everything, right, with numbers or however we measuring cup, right? I feel like in the next life, it's immeasurable. So what would stop you from wanting to continue to search for more light and more peace and more blissfulness? And knowing that, like you said, to have light, there must be darkness, then that would be the reason that would motivate a soul to come back through the grinder, right? To keep trying to learn these lessons and keep trying to level up. It's kind of like
that would mean side. You know what I mean? That could be levels of spirituality. Like, well, he's not developed as this spirit about equality.
Yeah, that's also
that is,
and
don't think you're
on level 1. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's levels of different spirituality of the. There's wiser people, wiser souls, and how exactly. It's like we're not. I don't feel like that's equal in a way. How come he? Maybe he had 1,000 lives. I have 300. I don't know. But,
my point is, you guys kind of like, it's a little bit depressing. That's the ultimate question, but it kind of makes sense to me that there actually is a reason, because what are we reaching for? I mean, this could be endless. We have no idea.
Well, that's what I say is, what is this a precursor to? Why are we having to learn these when we're told heaven is perfect? Down here, carry up to the other side. I'm trying to figure
Well,
out.
that's why we brought Juan on.
Well, you're cutting in and out. You know, I got half of what you all just said because you were cutting in and out, and it was like like robotic. So I think I got what you were talking about, but you know, I've read actually Conversations with God. I think I remember reading something like our souls find it fun to come into these bodies and to experience it all, even the shitty stuff. Which
Yeah.
it's hard for me to even wrap my head around. But I guess what I can compare, if that's something we want to hold on to, that thought that it's fun for the soul to do this, I guess I can compare it to, like, you know, a merry-go-round can make us sick to our stomach. It can be fun. We decide to hop on it or not. Yeah, but you know, if we want to talk about why this all exists, yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to like think on for the next 50 years.
Right. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, bringing up, like, for instance, you know, I've talked about this too. I heard you talk about, you know, did Hitler go to heaven? And I would say yes, he did. But is he on the other side? Is there a spiritual learning? Like, okay, hey guy, we can't do that. You know what I mean? So it's just hard to explain when I'm trying to get my thoughts through. Is, you know, you got someone who did all these evil things. He's not punished. He goes on the other side. But what was that all for? What did he learn from that, killing 10 million Jews or whatever? What was his lesson for that?
Maybe it wasn't about him.
Well, I know, but then you think about, it'd be like a stage and all the players. I mean, you'd have to get everybody. Okay, I'm going to die. I'll be one of your victims, Hitler. You know what I mean? It's almost mind blowing.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
And look, like I said, I don't believe in hell, and that implies that yes, even the worst of people, according to my belief, go to the same place, heaven, right?
Right.
And I'm not gonna say that doesn't piss me off. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But something that Conversations with God, the way that book puts it, is the soul that was Hitler, or this, like, so. And I don't even like to say his name; it upsets me. But like, but no, I mean, it's important to talk about, honestly. Right. So, but like for me, I'm Juan in this lifetime, but I've seen my past lives through regression therapy, and I know that I was I saw myself as a little girl in a past life. I saw myself as a Native American, which I know a lot of people say, but that's what I saw. I was different genders, different identities in my past lives. So in those lives, I was not Juan, but the intrinsic part of me that is my soul was. So when we think of someone who in this lifetime we've known as evil, like there's like the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world, like,
right.
There is a soul behind that person. And it's upsetting to think about. Something that I've said before to myself is, when I think of the most evil person in the world, I don't want to have compassion for them, but I can't deny that they were once a child. They were once a boy,
right.
Once a little girl. Yeah, it's very hard. And listen, I have no problem saying I wish Hitler were in hell. Even though I don't believe in hell.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a very hard,
hard
topic. Yeah,
my wife and I talk about it, and she would say, "Well, Keith, I don't want to go to a place where Charles Manson is. I don't want to go a place where Dahmer is, Hitler. Why should I have to be in the same space of these people?" And I try to explain to her, well, I would hope that you're spiritually cleansed when you cross over. You learn, you know, hey, what I did on earth was horrible. You hope. But then you also, like I said, then you kind of, you reflect back to, why did that happen? You know, I mean, why was that allowed to happen?
Yeah.
And he gets away with it. She kind of looks at it like that. I think most people, we're humans, and we have that revenge thing, you know, more so than forgiveness sometimes. And so I think, yeah, I do. I don't believe in hell, and therefore I have to say, I guess Hitler, Manson, Dahmer, they're all on the other side. Hopefully there'll be a better soul when they come back. Yeah, and I don't think it would be something you'd have to, you know, I was just telling her, it's like, you're not gonna have to deal with the human side of them when you're crossed over.
They're leaving the meat vehicle behind.
Right.
Like these are all like human.
The meat sack or whatever they call it.
Yeah, these are all human human decisions made within human conditions in a human environment.
And yeah, and listen, that doesn't mean that while we're all in the human world that we shouldn't hold these people accountable.
100%.
Sure.
When it comes to like, that's why, let's do what we feel like we need to do here, whatever we see as punishment, or there are just wars that happen. There are wars that have needed to happen to save people. They're happening now. So but when it comes to, I just don't want anyone telling me what they think of my soul when I'm dead. That's none of your business.
Yeah.
We can do what we need to do now to hold people accountable.
Right.
Right. And again, going back to talking about, do we write our story? If I was Hitler, why would I write that story? You know what I mean? Or if I was Charles Manson, or like, I'm going to murder all these people.
Yeah, but to be fair, again, like if you write a story and then you're born without recollection of that story and you're trying to like move your way through, your mission, then it would you would fail. Like you said earlier, it's like you go up and you're like, man, you got like the lowest grade ever.
There's certain schools of thought that when we write the story that, we can do some evil things, that we even pick out our victim, and that soul who's going to be your victim says, I love you enough to come down to let you murder me, to, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't remember, there's a lady who wrote a book, I'd love to get her on a show, and she talks about that as we're writing our story with our spirit guides, that each person close to your life, whether it was a negative way, positive way, you chose them, and they said, I love you enough that I'm going to allow you to kill me or do something horrible to me so you can learn your lesson or learn what you need to learn on Earth.
That's kind of simulation theory type.
Stuff.
Well, like, something that I saw in a past life, there's someone in my lifetime now, who I'm very close to, but I've had difficult relationship with for just very difficult. A lot of boundaries needing to be set. In a past life, I saw them as one of my parents, and they had abused me, sexually abused me. And I was a young girl in that lifetime. And I remember during the regression therapy session, I was bawling my eyes out, I knew what I was seeing in that lifetime as a memory during this meditation. I knew it was real because I was just bawling my eyes out. And what's interesting is, this person in the recent past, I have decided to set some firm boundaries with them, and our relationship has gotten way healthier. Now, maybe our two souls made this contract because in that other lifetime, they had been so horrible to me and abusive to me, that in this lifetime, I've gotten the chance to, like, hell no, I love you, but this is where it stops.
Right.
I think that's possible. That I think there's something to karma. I think there are karmic relationships that we have to fulfill, where in a past lifetime someone was horrible to another person, and in this lifetime they're coworkers instead of being father and son in the past lifetime. They're coworkers. They have a sticky point they got to work with, and in that sticky point, they are each given the opportunity to choose, what are we doing this time around? How are we changing it up so each of us can evolve the way we need to? Oh, think.
I don't know. Can you hear us okay?
You're going in and out, in and out.
I'm to figure out. It's Wi-Fi turn it in the top, and I will directly plug here. So,
yeah, the sound is breaking up. Oh, okay. It's the Juan show again. Oh, I see there's a chat. Hey, everybody. Mona, I do believe in heaven. I definitely believe in heaven. Hey, Tara. Making conversation. Yeah, I do definitely believe in heaven. I think heaven is all around us. We can tap into it. I don't think heaven is a specific place separate from us. Thanks, Joanne. I'm reading all your comments. It's unfortunate the Wi-Fi isn't working. Hope they can come back. Maybe I should keep my email open just in case. Oh, thank you, Taylor. Yeah, past life regression, Tara, is something that I highly recommend. It was a very wonderful experience for me. I need to do it again because I did it 8 years ago. I really want to do it again. Steven, born again Christian, what made me stop believing? Yeah, I'm a gay man, and I was in the closet, and I was a born again Christian to pray my own gay away. No one did it to me. I tried to do it myself. And when I had my first boyfriend at the age of 21, I just went out on a limb. He was also a Christian, and we decided to just pursue a relationship, although it was secret. And for those 9 months, I realized, well, I'm actually really happy. This can't be bad if I feel so fulfilled and happy. That changed my life. That and the conversations with God books. Oh, they're restarting their computer. Thank you so much, Drez. Are you Garrett's daughter or son? Because I saw him say, do your homework. So past life regression, you can find meditations on YouTube for free. And even maybe on Spotify, but especially YouTube, guided meditations to help you see your past lives. It's a meditation. It's not, I don't call it hypnosis. It's a meditation.
We're completely off for 5 minutes.
I'm here vibing with the people in the chat.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Thank you so much.
Dude, I was listening to you on my phone. I was like, he's killing it.
Yes. He's keeping the show going. We got to put him on payroll now.
We were freaking out because we're like, this has never happened. Like, one thing to know about Keith, I'm sure you picked up on this since you're a psychic and awesome. Like, he doesn't do anything half-assed. Like, this studio is incredible. I haven't even used a computer.
I'm so jealous of. So I'm also a singer. I don't do a lot of recording, but I am obsessed with what I'm seeing in your background right now.
Okay,
hang on.
Push the button. Okay, so one, we have to tell you this is a green screen. There is no
It looks so legit. Wait, it looks really.
Hang on.
I'm a musician myself. I have a little studio, but nothing like this green
Yeah.
screen.
I really believe that you were in a studio.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Wait.
This,
wow.
Right now, my hand is on a curtain, a green curtain.
Hey, but
holy smokes! I really thought it was real.
Dude,
wow.
we get that a lot.
We get that a lot.
What's crazy though is that, like, the point, like, Keith doesn't half-ass anything. This is like so high speed in here. So the internet problem is a very weird one after 100 and however many episodes.
Dude, I'm paying $200 a month just for. I got Gigablast.
Gigablast.
It's the most powerful computer you can, or internet you can get.
This and you said this only happens when you talk about, like, when you talk
this has
about
never
ghosts?
happened.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never been this bad. But yes,
we're vibing though. That's
when we
why.
Talk about the paranormal, or we talk about God, or anything
Something
like that,
bizarre happens.
And then between when I was restarting the computer, I said, Garrett, is there something negative trying to block this message to people? It's like, maybe there is something to this evil stuff. I don't know.
But also, Keith, like, one theory that we didn't mention really fast, when you're talking about people getting scratched and you're saying demons, what is it? Yeah. Somebody had told you, right? Maybe it's somebody trying just to communicate. Is that possible? Like, so for this internet issue, if it was something paranormal, does it have to be negative, or can it be somebody just like trying to get your attention?
I bet Juan believes us too. We're energy, right? So especially I've got a psychic on here, so
yeah,
there's probably spirits going, oh my God, I can get through to Juan. I can somehow mess their computer up, and I don't know how they communicate. I don't know how
he does. What do you think?
Yes, he does.
Well, see, like, I always tell people when I'm doing a reading for somebody, and I ask them, like, do you feel like there's something in your home? And they'll say yes. There have been times, maybe one time I felt it was something not positive, but most of the times I don't feel like it's anything negative. But I tell them what I'm feeling is it's not something negative. But if it gets to a point where it is cutting into your day, it's like disrupting your day, it is scaring you and your kids or your family, go to another professional. Like, because I don't do house cleansings at this point in my life. I would like to, actually, but I don't do house cleansings. I'm not a shaman. Like, I'm only telling you what I feel. But if it's going to, like, disrupt your life and scare the hell out of you, please go see a shaman. Go see someone who can cleanse your home. So but like right now, I don't feel like there's anything evil going on.
me.
No, I don't either. I don't
Yeah.
either. And like I said, I try to start my morning with a positive message. And again, one of the things I do now, like when I was having kind of evil things happen in my house, after I started learning about it, I thought I can only make things by trying to give it. So weird.
It's happening again.
Can you hear me okay?
Hey,
Are we still getting out?
A little bit.
Okay. What started happening to me after I started learning about the paranormal, learned that something, like say something went to my house, I didn't get no energy to draw off of to want to stay. And so I feel a lot of it is gone because I didn't give it any type. I said I don't believe it. And can you hear me okay?
It's getting slowly better, slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Garrett, we'll probably better cut it off here in a minute, but so I can get this fixed. But you wanted to know about can you do this yourself? Could you learn to be a medium? So maybe he can kind of. I'll let you on kind of talk to him about how you develop that and what you can do with it. That's something Garrett always wants to know about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's something I'm really passionate about. Being a psychic medium myself, I feel like the goal of my work is to remind people that they have their own connection to their loved ones, that you should not be coming to see me every week to talk to your mom on the other side. Like I'm not a phone service and I don't want to be because it's not healthy for someone to depend on me. Like you have your own connection. So I'm just a guiding post. And the way I kind of see it also is we can all connect to our own loved ones in a different way. Like the way I channel people's loved ones, I don't get those kinds of messages for my own loved ones. It's kind of like, when they say that a sandwich tastes better when someone else makes it for you, like when you make yourself a sandwich, you like it, but when someone else makes something for you, the same thing for you just tastes different. Like, I don't know what it's because you feel the love in it or the care in it. So that's kind of like how a psychic reading works. Now, we can all do this. I believe we're all mediums, but it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of development. We all have the intuition. We all have intuition. We could use it in different ways. We just have to know how to tap into it, to trust it. And the way I see it is, you got people like Teresa Caputo, Tyler Henry, John Edwards, James Van Praagh. There are people like, I've seen Teresa Caputo like 5 times in person live. And I'm telling you, like, I'm a big fan of hers. And people make fun of her. She's got the hair, the nails. Yes, she's outlandish. But I'm telling you that seeing her in person, she is the real freaking deal. And I've admired her since her first episode of her show. So there's people like her where it's like this all the time.
Right.
And there's people like me where I can decide to tap into it. And I did not grow up with this the way it is now, the way she did with her gift or her ability. So I kind of see it like this. You have a lot of great singers in the world. You got like an Adele. Oh, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah. But yeah, so like you got a lot of great singers in the world. You got like right now, like you have Adele, let's say Beyonce's a good singer, Lady Gaga. These are 3 good singers. They all sound really different. Some people have opinions that one is better than another singer. In my opinion, they're all good singers, and there's a mood for each one. I could listen to this one on this day, depending on my mood. Mediumship is the same way, and psychic ability is the same way. We can all do this, but they're all to different degrees, and they can tap into different talents. For some people, it's cards. For some people, it's runes, tea leaves. Some people read seashells. And when it comes to mediumship, it's the same thing. I think we're all mediums. We just all have it to a different degree, and we can practice it and hone that skill. And what I recommend is joining a mediumship circle or a spirit circle. And so I've been in one since 2021/2020. And it's what has helped me develop. It's what has helped me get to where I am today. And I still have a lot to develop. I'm nowhere near the finish line. I'm always learning. I'll learn till the day I die. Keep learning. But if you feel like you are interested in this, just join a mediumship circle. A good mediumship circle is not going to tell you, oh, I've never done this before. This isn't for you. A mediumship circle should be open and welcoming to anybody who's curious to learn this ability. So I think mediumship is not a gift. It's an ability. The gift is For me, what I call my gift is my personality that I bring to the ability. That's my gift, my talent, is bringing my personality into it. So yeah, long story short, I think we all can do this. The goal, I personally recommend not seeing a medium more than once or twice a year, because it can get very easy to depend on someone else to talk to your loved ones. But a medium, I believe a healthy, good medium is going to encourage you to connect to your loved ones in your own way on your own, in addition to seeing them,
Right.
not just through them.
And even with psychics, I think it's a good thing not to do that too much, because you need to learn to make your own decisions. Like a lot of people go to psychics, hey, I got this job coming up. What should I do? Hey, I got this coming up. It's like, I think we're here on earth to make those decisions, to learn from those decisions, and not just to rely on someone to make your mind up for you. That's your job, I think.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. 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 And I have to tell people, I have a friend, this hasn't happened to me yet, knock on wood, but I have a good friend who reads tarot, and she was having someone trying to book her every 3 days. And it's like,
oh my God.
About the same thing, about romance.
Really?
It's like when we receive information, we have to let ourselves absorb it. You can't just keep going back. It's unhealthy. I mean, listen, I wish I had all the answers all the time. I wish there was someone I could see that could just run my life for me, but that's no way to live.
Yeah. And it makes it fun, kind of.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. And that's kind of what we're here for, I think.
Yeah.
But so Juan, we want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, real quick, I had people in the chat asking, guys, just go to Juan Third Eye. He hosts the Third Eye site.
Third Eye site. Yes.
Yeah.
Great podcast, by the way.
I'm gonna post all that
podcast.
stuff on Instagram.
And that's my YouTube channel too. My social media is Juan Third Eye, and my podcast is Third Eye Sight, and I have a channel for Third Eye Sight on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Man, you're so awesome. Do you think we could run this back again in the future at some point?
Yeah, I would love. You mean to rejoin again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. Of course. Yeah, this was a really great conversation. Maybe next time I'll do a little prayer so you don't have all the tech glitches. If I can help in any way, I don't know.
Yeah, please do one, because it's like I said, every time it's weird though, because if you go back and you watch some of our shows when we're talking about the paranormal, there's like these glitches, things screw up. I don't know what it is.
That means you're bringing it.
But
I guess so. I
In a
mean,
good way. It's good.
without even I'm not even trying. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But I'll figure that one out.
It has just been like really good, positive energy though. Like even when I was connecting with you on Instagram and kind of setting this up. So I know Keith was super excited. I've been excited. We're so humbled. Thank you so much.
we got to have you back on, Juan. I mean, there's so much more we could talk for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Easy.
No,
But
I thank you both so much, and thanks for giving me this platform to chat with you. And I had a lot of fun. And as long as people step away knowing that they have the power, the goal was met tonight. And I would love to come back.
All right, thank you, Juan.
Thank you so much. Juan, you have a great night, and hope we'll get back with you. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good. Chat
All right,
soon.
brother. Take
Bye.
care.
Both.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Dude,
that's
what?
so weird.
It was such a good episode. He's so awesome, and that was
That was a great episode, and man, that's weird. Okay, so now look,
It's gone.
it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It was
now.
there the whole episode until he left.
And even when we restarted the computer, right, it started glitching again. I was like, what the hell?
It wouldn't shut down.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe
Keith.
maybe it's something that
How about the timing?
it's the modem. Maybe it's the modem.
The
Maybe
timing's a little fishy. That's all.
yeah, a little bit weird.
He was awesome, dude.
Yeah, man, I could talk to that guy for hours. And like I said, if you guys get a chance, if you're interested in like what you heard tonight, definitely go to his podcast, Third Eye Sight.
Yep.
Third Eye Sight, yes, and it's on. I listened to it on Spotify. There's a bunch of good.
I was hitting him up on YouTube.
Yeah, I listened to more than I thought. I listened to about 5 shows last night and today.
Hey, first spiritual session of the 2023.
Yes, it was.
Tonight, our episode.
Yeah, I know. And
I called it a session.
I know you guys love the true crime, but this is my forte. Our
That's
forte,
it. That's
really.
it
And
right
this
here.
is what I find interesting.
Well, I
So,
love the NDEs. I don't think he doesn't even realize how into NDEs you and I are.
yeah, we need to, man, and I want to find someone.
I have it.
No,
Remember?
we did.
I have the lady.
Yeah, you got another one. And that who was the guy we had on that? He gave us a full description of heaven, the whole thing. That was interesting.
All of our NDE episodes
But-
have been amazing, but this lady I'm bringing on was on Off the Vine with Caitlin Bristow. bachelorette.
And when
It's a
she
huge. We're
schedule?
coordinating right now. She
Okay.
wasn't in the schedule, but we're gonna make it work.
okay, do you know who we got on schedule next week?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay,
We'll put it out.
we'll let you guys know.
We
but
got guests lined up, guys.
we got guest lines up through March.
Yep.
June. I think
April.
we said.
Yeah, we're going into May.
Yeah, going into May, so then we'll keep it going. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Sorry about the glitches. I'm
That was
hoping that
wild.
was just a modem problem,
That was pretty crazy.
but that was weird. But we love you guys, and thank you for joining us every Wednesday here. We really do appreciate it. Like I said, you guys could be watching TV, doing something else, but you choose to spend your time watching us, and it means a lot to
It
Garrett
really
and I.
does.
And we love you guys, and we will
Good
see
night.
you next week. And peace out, people. Love you.